Hello, everyone. I'm Professor Geek. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another Inspiration of Heroes stream. We I have a very misbehaving backstage person. It's cracking me up. He doesn't know, or he knows. He knows I can see him. But anyway, let me welcome the chat here first. Got I did see Alex Starr popping in first, wanting to say hi to our guest today. But he and Nathaniel Zalozabal, if I'm pronouncing that right, did a bit of chatting, so welcome to you guys. Who else popped in here next? That was a bit long. Welcome to Matthew Flynn, Leyenda 61. I think I got that right. Horizon Talker, Dev. Good to see Dev as well. Divinital Kayan. I think I got that right, didn't I? Sweet. Okay. So welcome, and welcome to the many other people who are watching and have been waiting for the stream. Thanks for hanging out. But yeah, these Inspiration of Heroes streams are always a lot of fun. Briefly, I just like to do a little intro to them in case people don't know what they are or what to expect, new people watching the playbacks or whatever. But my channel is based on the effect that heroes in our mythology have on our individual psychologies and our society in general. And I talk a lot about the archetypes and their effects and everything like that. But I can only talk from my own experience. And I do try to talk about archetypal effects so that it's not just it's completely, subjective or anything. I am talking about objective effects they have on society and whatnot. But some of the more personal stuff I can only talk about from my own experience. So I decided to do this series, and I've done quite a few now, and I'm going to keep doing more. They tend to be popular, in which I invite guests on, just friends of the channel and people who I admire for one reason or another. And then I have them talk about the heroes that have affected them or shaped them throughout different points of their life or whatever. So that's the idea. That's what this stream is all about. And without further ado, let me bring in my miscreant backstage guest. Welcome, Mr. Matt Wilkins. Great to have you on.
Oh, man, I felt like Zod banished to the Phantom Zone in this lobby. That's amazing.
I knew something told me don't look down because he's going to do that thing again. And sure enough, he did. Just cracking me up.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thank you so much for having me. I absolutely love your channel. So I'm glad you got to be on my channel last week, which was just a goal I've been wanting to do for a while now.
A lot of fun. Yeah.
I'm so happy to be guesting on yours. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you being here. It's great to have you. So we'll talk about, I'll lead you into some questions about, the hero stuff first. But first, why don't you tell, I think a lot of people from my channel were over there watching me on yours. But for those who maybe haven't heard of you before, what you want to talk a little bit about your channel and your website and just kind of what you're kind of known for in the sphere a bit?
Sure. Yeah. My name is Matt Wilkins. My channel is Matt Wilkins because I had a channel back when you didn't give some fancy code name. You just put your name in the title because that was your account. Why not just call it after your name?
Yep.
So I've been on YouTube for a while. By the way, I'm on my cell phone, so if this thing's a little shaky, that's me holding the cell phone. I pressed update over an hour ago, and now we're at 11% instead of 8%, like I showed you just a few minutes ago. So progress, people, progress. This is one heck of an update. Anyway, so on my channel, I review board games because I love board games a whole lot. And, of course, mostly, and what I'm known for is the Star Wars Expanded Universe. I started a long time ago when Disney decided to get rid of that story. I made a video saying that, how I felt. And I felt like, well, you know what?
That was the first video I saw yours, too.
Yeah, I was excited about that and everything. But then I knew, I said, if Disney bought it, then they're going to get rid of all these books and everything. I said, and if they do that, and my video says, I said, I think I'm done. Because it was me down. I wasn't being sour. I wasn't being I quit. Flipping the table. I was just thinking, this is why I like Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's kept my love of Star Wars up. If this is going away, then I don't think I'm gonna like Star Wars anymore. It's like when your favorite. Imagine if my favorite baseball team, the New York Mets, moved to Oklahoma. They became the Oklahoma Mets. I'd still cheer for them. But what if they were the, Oklahoma Wolverines or something? I would stop. I would stop being a fan, or stop being a fan of baseball. Maybe even I don't know. Would I have a favorite team anymore?
Yeah.
It's just an interesting concept that I ask myself of every Expo fan I meet, which I don't meet that many. But so anyway, off that topic. review these books, and I started defending the expanded universe because there's a lot of misinformation, a ton of misinformation out there. I was like, they're talking like they know the expanded universe, but it was obvious none of them had ever read that much outside of Timothy Zahn's trilogy. So I decided to do a few videos, and from there, then I said, hey, you know what? I've said everything I want to say about it, so why don't we review it and talk about it? So I review all the comics, books, short stories, children's stories, anything I can get my hands on that has a story, because it's a great overall story. It all connects. And it's been a lot of fun. Been doing that for a couple of years on the channel, and next month I will finish up my conclusion of the entire expanded universe saga.
That's insane. Wow.
I know.
That's wow. Well, yeah, it's great. And you got a website too, right? Did you start that website, or do you run it with some other people?
Yeah, well, I started it with Chris Nelson, a friend of mine. Okay. Chris, I'd had on a podcast a long time ago. We got to talk, and then after the podcast, we kept talking, and I just really like that guy. He's a really smart guy, genuine guy, really great with the EU and everything. And then I heard he built websites. I went, Chris, I have this crazy idea. I want an expanded universe where we could just talk, just something to talk about the expanded universe. And it was almost for a selfish reason, because when I asked for people, I still ask for people to submit content, and that's because I want to read it.
Yeah.
I want to read it. I read every article that goes up there. I mean, now there's a few of them that haven't been. The other admins we brought in have been writing some other stuff. I found out later. He's like, what'd you think of because they're keeping up with the Hasbro polls day to day. And I went, dude, my wife just had gallbladder surgery. I was like, I haven't checked this. Are we making posts? I didn't, because I read everything. I usually edit and put the post out for the site. And this week I've had to pause, so I'm not used to other people. There's something coming out there. So, but I love what we have going on. I love our contributors. I'm looking to grab a few more in the future. We've had you contribute a story or whatever, and I remember
coming one of these days.
your Dawn of the Jedi review. And I remember I had Chris, I think it was Chris, I can't remember, someone called me and said, who is this guy? I went, I met him and he wanted to submit one. He submitted that one. He went, have you seen it? I said, yeah, I've seen it. He went, I've never heard anything. I said, I know, I thought it was pretty good. But I love hearing that. I love hearing other people's perspectives on books and comic books. And even because to be honest, and people are now finding this out about me, back in the Star Wars, I don't know if you kept up in the forums back in StarWars.com.
No.
I was big in the forums, and my opinion at the time was very different from the average EU fan. I liked books that other people didn't, and I didn't like books that other people did. I wasn't trying to be fickle or difficult. Sure. It was just my taste was different than a lot of other people's, and I wondered how that would translate on my reviews. And some have gone over well, some have gone over bad, but it's not as well. I trashed a fan favorite novel that I did not like at all. But the thing is, overall though, I'm just so happy to hear other people's opinions on things. And your opinion on Dawn of the Jedi, you had some interesting things to say. I did not. but I absolutely love that. And even if I don't like a story, I always encourage someone else to try it out and see for themselves. Yeah, because I don't ever want to, and that was one of the things I'm trying not to do, is sway someone's opinion and say, don't read this, don't read that. When the hardest question for me to answer is, Matt, can I skip this? Well, I don't want you skipping any of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love it all. So I can't really say skip it. Just because I thought it was bad doesn't mean it's bad. But yeah, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun.
And that's the expandeduniverse.org. I always get it wrong.
Expandeduniverse.com.
Got
the .com there.
Gotcha.
So yeah, and anyone who reads Expanded Universe and you got some ideas or reviews or just topics that you can go ahead and reach out to us at contact@theexpandeduniverse.com. And that email is on the website there, and myself or one of the admins will read it, and we'll get back. We'll hit you back. But yeah. Fun.
When I edit this stream and release it as a video, I'll make sure I have the link to that in the description for people.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Got a couple of super chats here. Let me check in. We've got my dear sound engraver. She can give me super chats because she knows she'll get it back from me this weekend on the date. So she's nice to meet you, Matt Wilkins, though. She was saying that she used to live in Arkansas for a while. She's like, that voice is like I'm back in Arkansas.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm from Louisiana, sound engraver, and I'm in North Louisiana, so Arkansas is literally an hour or less away from
Yeah.
me. So right next to our border.
And then we have Mr. Owen Lister. Yeah, Owen Lister, thank you very much for the super chat. I really much appreciate it. Yeah, no, I've seen you. Yeah, a lot of people, obviously, this seems pretty unpopular. So, yeah, your name's on the list. It's just going to take me a while to get through everybody. So, great to have you supporting
and
here.
he has to get through all the boring people first before he gets to the exciting people. So it's a compliment that, you're going after me. Trust me.
Not at all. Not at all. So we'll any super chats come in, I'll definitely get to them when there are natural stopping points there. So thank you for those. I appreciate them. But we can go with this, however order you want to go in. Some people like to go from a certain age and kind of tell the story of their their bio through their heroes, or they just like to talk about this hero first since it's the most important, and then go into this one or that one or whatever, or build up. So however you want to start. I mean, we have started talking about Star Wars, so if you want to go into some of the Star Wars heroes first, we can, or if you want to pick at a different trail, whatever you want to start with.
We can start with the main Star Wars character. I've always been influenced by Luke Skywalker. I've always loved Luke Skywalker ever since I was a kid. Today, it's cool to like Han Solo.
Yeah.
To be honest, boys and girls, back in the 80s, people wanted to be Luke Skywalker. I'm sorry.
Nice.
It was okay. If you had to play as Han Solo, you were okay with that, but everyone wanted to be Luke Skywalker because he had a lightsaber. He was a Jedi. And he's your hero. He's always optimistic from beginning to end. And you look at this, and this too, because we both talked about this, but the sequel trilogy gets so wrong. I mean, a complete 180 on all of our characters. All of our characters that we built up and loved, totally, like you say, deconstructed them. But to the point where they're not even recognizable anymore. It's obviously not the same character that George Lucas envisioned. And I know Mark Hamill thinks that too. He just won't say it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you look at Luke Skywalker in the original series. If Luke Skywalker was what he acted like in the sequel series, why would anyone like that guy? Why would anyone like him? He's the most unlikable person from what I've heard. I should give a little clarity. I have not seen the sequel movies, but from what I know about it, he doesn't seem that hopeful at all. He wants to give up.
Yeah.
Where the Luke I grew up with in A New Hope was the only one hopeful that they would take down the Death Star. Now let's be realistic. That's a 1 in a million shot. But you know what? He shoots whatever, he shoots those into his T-16 Skyhopper. They're not much bigger than that porthole.
Yeah, Womp Rats.
It's always the cup is half full. And it's a great optimistic. I mean, you wanted to be him in Empire. Empire Strikes Back. This dude had the worst day of your life. Think of the worst day of your life, folks. Multiply that by 10. Luke Skywalker, man, of course, he goes to visit this Jedi warrior. He's expecting this, He-Man, Hercules type. Nope, he gets crazy old loony Yoda who's eating his little chicka stick. I swear that thing looks like a chicka stick. And if it is a chicka stick, I don't blame him. Those things are delish. I could have a chicka stick right now. But anyway, so this guy's nuts. This is the guy he's supposed to idolize, and he turns out to be not what Luke thought. But on top of that, he is making Luke look like the biggest wuss in the world. Luke complains, it's impossible. I can't do it. It's too heavy. It's too big. And then Yoda's like, you mean this? Lifts up. And then, Luke's like, oh, man, do I look like a hee-haw? And it's so after being embarrassed and being humbled, then what happens? Then he decides to ignore the wisdom, because we've already established that Yoda knows what he's talking about, and Luke knows that. But he says, no, I'm not going to follow Luke or Ben, who I've been following his advice for at least we hear for the past few years between these two movies. And I'm going to go rescue all my friends. Well, this plan is half cocked and it goes wrong. He loses his hand, finds out Vader's his father. It's all messed up. It's all messed. Everything. His best friend Han, he didn't save everyone. Han's captured by the bounty hunter. Things are looking bad. But what happens at the end? At the end, he gets that hand, and then puts his arm around Leia, to comfort her and says, "Hey, you know what? It's almost like it's going to be all right." And the look on Luke's face is one of, peace, like calm, like, okay, let's regroup here and let's see what we can do, because there's that hopeful scene that everything goes bad. It could have ended with Luke just crying in a corner, all balled up, but that's not Luke. Luke's got to be optimistic. And of course, Return of the Jedi, he thinks he's got everything. He is calm, he's in control, and they're captured by a Jabba about to go into the Sarlacc pit. If any of those things go wrong, if any of that plan goes wrong, they're screwed. Luke is calm. Luke knows. And Luke's the only one that sees hope in Vader when Leia and Han say he's done. Are you saying Darth Vader, the guy who just wiped out all the Jedi, the guy who's killed billions of lives? No, he needs to die. He's evil. Good in him. Luke knows this, and he's defiant to the end. The Emperor's torturing him and just begging out to his father because he just knows. He believes in him. And yeah, that transition where Vader's watching his son now, not just Luke Skywalker, not just it's his son, and he just kind of back and forth between him and the Emperor. That's much better than screaming out the word Martha, and then suddenly you become friends.
Amen.
It's much better. There's tons more tension there. There's tons more buildup. The whole time about not destroying his faith. And I love that scene when they're on Endor where he shows a lightsaber. I see you've constructed a new lightsaber. It's a little taut there. He said, there is no hope for me, son. He calls him son. So it's a little bit more touching. Vader's having some emotions. He's having them right there. And it builds up. It's beautiful. It's beautiful how it builds up. And it's not one of those, what? How come Vader's a good guy? What did Vader do? No, this whole build-up's been here where he's battling his son. Join us or die. Okay, I've got to kill you. Did you not hear? Son, I'm screwed. This is my life. I got to accept it. The Empress. And then Luke's showing him through his determination, his optimism, and his eternal hope. No, there is good in you. And then Vader goes, it just kind of, I love it because it's just a mask, folks. But that look from the Emperor, to see pure hate and glee that he's, killing Luke, and then see the agony and the sincerity in Luke's face to call out for his father. The decision's made, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. He does win, and he says, "Tell your sister you were right. Tell him you were right. You're right about me. You're right." That's his dying words. He wants to tell him, "You were right. Good on you for believing in me. There was something in me." And to be honest, Vader, Anakin Skywalker, at that point wouldn't have known that if it hadn't have been his son. If it hadn't been for the love of his son. Man, what kind of better character can you respect?
Yeah,
Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker, his story, folks, was continued in these books here. And it just got better because Luke is still full of hope. He's still full of hope. He's still growing. He's still humble. And he's not, impenetrable. His biggest fear is falling to the dark side. And sometimes he goes a little too, he doesn't act as much. He withdraws a little bit more. So he does have some, flaws in him, like a good character can. But at the same time, he grew as a character. The Jedi Order flourished. He made mistakes. Students fell to the dark side, but he didn't give up. He didn't quit. He didn't burn it all down and walk away. He didn't do that. He pushed on. He was perseverant to the end. It's wonderful that his story got to continue that way. And I absolutely, from a little kid, love Luke Skywalker. Love that. I mean, that's the message that everyone should have. Not see Luke Skywalker and go, "It's dead. I kill it." Or whatever, exactly. I give up. I don't know. I never saw it. So, but I mean, I know he was very negative, and he's given up on the Jedi Order. He's given up on everything. I guess Kylo Ren went bad, and that just hurt his feelings.
He tried to kill him, actually. Tried to kill his own nephew at one point. Yeah.
You've shot womp rats bigger than him. Come on, Luke.
It's I love hearing you say that because I didn't and I wish I had, but I didn't really get into Luke Skywalker and Star Wars in general until I was an adult. So I didn't really grow up with it in childhood. Now, what kind of age range were you in the 80s growing up with it? Because you're talking about playing pretend and stuff like that with it, or You don't have to give me the exact. I just want to know. Is this
Folks,
like teenage?
no, I don't mind. I don't care. I'm old, folks. I'm old. I'm about to be 44.
Oh, well, you're not too far off me. I'm 41, so we're similar.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So I grew up. I was born in '77. My mom and dad took me to the theaters because they couldn't afford a babysitter. We were poor, and I really wanted to see Star Wars. And now the thing is, take this with a super grain of salt. This is from my mom. Okay, rose-colored glasses. My mom said I never told a lie until I was 4 years old.
Nice.
That right there must be a lie. 3 years old. I can't remember. I never would lie. It was always the best child. But anyway, she said that I had my eyes open the entire time.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, a kid would be surprised if I couldn't sleep. Maybe all that loud noise, I probably was up. Like, come on, let me sleep.
That's cool.
Who's that? Ooh, hello, princess.
Indeed.
They took us to see Empire too, but I want to say I have memories of standing. I remember standing up in a movie theater and grabbing the front seat. You know, the front seat being up to here, and I think I was terrified of those four-legged walkers. That's a memory I think I had.
Yeah,
that's the only 3 and under used to be free, and again, parents were broke growing up, so we couldn't afford a babysitter, so they took us. Now, Return of the Jedi, I vividly remember. I was 6 years old. Sure. We went 3 times. My dad took us, my grandmother took us, and then my dad took us. Didn't know that my grandmother had taken us, and so we got to see it 3 times, and I loved it.
Nice. Wow.
So we all grew up playing. I mean, you couldn't be, if you had more than one boy, you were like saying, okay, I'm Luke Skywalker from, we used to just say Star Wars, not New Hope.
Sure.
You're Luke Skywalker from Empire. You're Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi.
Nice.
You know, I mean, that's because we had to split up the different the Luke Skywalkers because everyone wanted to be a Luke Skywalker.
That's awesome.
But yeah, we grew up playing him, and I loved being Luke Skywalker.
One question for you, if you do see a connection in this, because you're talking about how he's so positive, you know, and he looks for the great, you know, the hope and everything. I love that. I see personally a connection in that, and I know we're both, you know, we're both men of faith here. And you say positivity. I see it as faith. I mein, he's got this new religion that has just really affected his heart and rocked his world, and he believes in it, even with everybody in the world around him mocking him and just saying that's a dead religion. You know, how can you still be so archaic to believe in something like that? And yet he does, and he acts on that faith left and right. I mean, I see that as a big inspiration, you know, in my walk of faith. I mean, is that something that you connected to as a child, or something more later? Or
absolutely, you can make that connection later on. You know, you can look at seeing that connection. I think they even wrote a book. I can't remember what it was, but I remember reading a long time ago about comparing the Force and religion. And
cool.
But I can't remember the name of it, so I won't. But I remember there was a book out a long time ago about that. But you could see that definitely, because here's Luke. He's on a dead end planet, dead end friends. He's going nowhere. He's frustrated. He doesn't know what. He knows there's something greater out there in life. He just doesn't know what it is. Yeah. Finds the Force, and then completely changes into a different human being. I mean, by the time Jedi's come around, he's worked out all the kinks. He's not as you know, aggressive. He's not, you know, he's kind of learned a lot in those few years, and knows that he should have listened more closely to Obi-Wan and Yoda. So especially in the books, you can see that as well. But no, definitely you can make that connection. No, I agree on that.
Yeah, it's a really it's an interesting one. I want to be careful here because I can, you know, I've been wanting to have you on my channel for a while to talk about Star Wars in general. So I want to make sure I don't just dwell on Star Wars only, but you're going to come back. Definitely. You're definitely
sure. Let's go move on then.
Well, sure. Well, you know, I like that you listed kind of, I don't know if you listed this in the order or if I just kind of put it next, but you had talked a lot about Lord of the Rings, and specifically The Hobbit, Bilbo Baggins. Yes. And I put that next on the thumbnail, and it strikes me that it's kind of a similar, I mean, they're similar stories, they're similar heroes' journeys. Definitely. They follow those beats.
Right.
But Bilbo kind of coming to learn to crave adventure. He doesn't want off the planet like Luke does at first, right? So.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Now, I grew up reading Hobbit, Lord of the Rings all the time. I still read them today. My last journey through Middle Earth was just last year, and I want to start over again. I just love that story there. Was that what it was? The Gospel According to Star Wars? Thank you.
Big Al's really good at looking up things. He looks up everything people forget. I appreciate that. So.
Way to go. It came out a long time. I remember reading it too.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Hobbit. Yeah, the Hobbit growing up, obviously written for younger adults to enjoy, and
Mhm.
so that story always stuck with me. And Bilbo, that you could draw. I mean, any hero you can draw connections to, right?
Mhm.
But with Bilbo, I remember, and all hobbits were like this. Kids can really relate to hobbits because
Mhm.
hobbits, they live in a world of big people. Well, so do kids.
Oh, that's a good
And
point.
so
Yeah.
it was so easy to think he lives in a hobbit hole, no bigger than whatever, yada yada. And I was thinking, wait, that's the perfect house for me,
Mhm.
And so you just, and I don't know. My dad used to read stories to us every night, and of
Uh-huh.
course, one of them was The Hobbit, and you could see it in your head.
Mhm.
It's if anyone has had a parent read to you at night, if you have kids, start reading to them at night.
Yeah.
It was honestly the highlight of all our evenings when our dad would read to us, and he was really good at it too. But you'd sit there and you just live through the adventure in the book, and it was
Mhm.
wonderful. And so we'd sit there and listen, and you could imagine yourself as Bilbo Baggins going on this journey. Here you are in a nice little hobbit hole with buttered toast, marmalade jam, coffee, hotcakes, and everything. And I'm thinking, I don't think I'd ever leave that
Yeah.
hobbit hole. Not just because of the comfort and coziness, but look at all that food.
Yes.
I
Yes.
read it now and I'm thinking, I would stay. If I was Bilbo, I'd say, screw you dwarves. Do you not see look at the feast I have here. It's time for mid-lunch. Yeah, Gandalf. Yeah, I want adventure. No, I
Yeah.
want buttered marmalade jam and toast and eggs and poached eggs. And I don't know. Just everything fresh on the table. I was like, oh my gosh, that makes me
Yep.
hungry.
Yeah. I
And
remember
go ahead.
I remember reading it. I didn't read it until a little later in life too, like a little late teens or whatever. But as being such an introvert as I am, as somebody who does not like crowds or socializing in general, like out in I remember reading that intro. I was like, guys, just leave him alone. He just wants to stay there and have a nice, quiet evening. Leave him alone.
It plays like a Saturday Night Live skit because there's one dwarf after the next. You're like, what's
That's right.
going on? How many are coming here? Greetings, young
Yeah.
Baggins. And they just come on in. And it is like a comedy here. And now he's got this room full of these rowdy people. He's trying to clean plates, cook it. And you feel Tolkien is so great at writing the story because you understand how he set up this peaceful lifestyle in one chapter,
Mhm.
less than that,
Yeah.
of what Bilbo, and you already buy it. You're bought into Bilbo's life.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, he just smashes that
Yeah.
with a hammer and says, oh, and now all these dwarves are coming and messing everything up. You're like, stop.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
But,
absolutely. That's
as
what life though does too, right? I mean, like, you don't get to stay in your comfort zones. The
yeah,
the
you don't
dwarves
get to
do
stay in
come
your
in and
comfort
drag
zone.
you out on adventures.
Now, I read it differently as an adult, which I find fascinating. But as a kid, it was like, oh, wow. He lived a boring life. Then he had something exciting happen. He goes on this trip. He gets a cool blade called Sting, glows in the dark. My PJs glow in the dark. I get that. I understand the coolness of that. I
Nice.
swear, folks, glow in the dark jammies. Best thing as a kid, man. I bragged about my glow in the dark jammies.
Nice.
I wish I had glow in the dark jammies now. But
I never had glow in the dark. I remember being really, really excited about Underoos, that they had all my favorite characters on them, but I don't remember the jammies in particular.
Because you dress up as your favorite superhero, right?
That's right.
And the only time you want to run around in your underwear is if you were wearing Aquaman or Robin or someone like Superman. You're like, yeah,
That's right.
look how cool I am. No, you're in your underoos hanging. No, it's a Superman costume.
That's right.
Okay.
Don't ruin it.
If you say, and you weren't afraid to go outside in it, your mom was like, no, you can't play outside in that. Why?
That's right.
It's a superhero
Exactly.
costume. No, it's your Fruit of the Looms, dear.
Yep. Nope.
So, but anyway, so he goes on this wonderful adventure, finds the one ring. It's his little secret for the longest. It's really cool. Back then, it wasn't an evil thing. We didn't know it was bad. We just thought it was really cool. Sometimes you want to be invisible, and that's a cool way. As a kid, it's like, that's a cool power. It's not a superpower, but it's a sneaky thing. And it turns out to be the exact thing he needs to deal with Schmog. Everything about this is just so, because it's just so ominous when he's in the room with Smog, and Smog is trying to find him, and they're talking, and it's like, dude, you need to get out of there. I'm getting this creepy feeling you talking to this dragon for too long. He's trying to find you. And then when he's running, he burns his feet. You're clenching your covers like this if your dad's reading it to you. But the whole adventure you could see through. Oh, and by the way, and this is what I've read later on. I thought about this later on, reading as an adult. What a smart way to write the Battle of Five Armies
for kids.
Here come all these armies. They're about to have this big old battle, and Bilbo gets knocked out, and then he wakes up. The battle's over. You're like, wait, what happened? But remember, you're experiencing this journey through Bilbo.
That's right. That's right.
And so the big adventure doesn't necessarily have to be there. And I never thought about that as a kid, but now reading, I was like, what a smart idea. Like, here come the eagles. You're like, oh my gosh. And then clank. I wish, I knew they couldn't do that for the movie, but I wish they would have just, when the battle's about to begin, knock Bilbo out, have the screen go black for a few seconds, then have him wake up, the battle's done. People would be ticked off.
Nice.
They missed all that CGI vomit. But to be honest, the book I loved it. And I remember reading Lord of the Rings and being angry when Bilbo wasn't chosen to be the ring
really? Wow.
I remember that because Bilbo's sitting in the council of Elrod, and he goes, "Oh, I know what you're saying. You're saying, well, why don't we get that Baggins, put it? Let's
That's right.
Like, okay, come on, let's do this."
Yeah.
He's about to go Leroy Jenkins on to Mount Doom. Okay.
He is. That's a great way.
And you're just like, yeah, I think Bilbo should take it. He started. He should. I mean, as a kid, it made perfect sense to me. And Gandalf gives him that kind smile and says, "Bilbo, your adventures are over." And I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think Tolkien originally had Bilbo going. Well, no, I know he had Bilbo originally going, but the reason I think he changed that is because he forgot that when he had written Hobbit, he mentions that Bilbo lived the rest of his days in peace.
Yeah, yeah.
And that if he wrote Bilbo as the centerpiece of Lord of the Rings, that's not a peaceful time for Bilbo.
No, not at all.
So he had to. He thought back of it, like, oh, I can't have Bilbo be the main guy here. I got to get different. Yeah. And he came up with the history of Middle Earth is fantastic for this because it wasn't Frodo at first; it was Bingo.
Yeah, I remember that.
Glad that changed.
That. Yeah.
Okay, but there was a lot of different things. Strider was a hobbit with wooden shoes, folks. I'm not making this up. It's a very interesting read. But Bilbo was supposed to be the original main character, and of course he had to change that. Well, as a kid, I didn't realize that, and I was like, no, Bilbo should go. So Frodo always felt like the replacement guy, the guy that came in for one season and replaced the Dukes of Hazzard. It's Bilbo's family member, a cousin, whatever. Get out of here. You're not the real deal here. But I've come to accept Frodo and love Frodo and Samwise and all of them. I've come to grow and love them over the years. But Bilbo, to me, was the man. He was the man. He started all. And because of his height and everything, you could easily, as a kid, replace Bilbo with you in that adventure. Yeah,
definitely.
Scary big orcs or goblins at the time running by you while you're yes, I don't blame him. I would too. it just felt so natural. Some of the things, and Bilbo would outsmart people, outsmarting the trolls and everything. And it's just a lot of stuff there that I just really could appreciate that. And of course, Bilbo comes away, richer, but he's content. He only wants a small box. He doesn't want glory. He did it for the journey. He did it for the trap, there and back again. And then he gets to go back to his peaceful life. And it's like you crawled back into your warm, cozy bed for the night and goes, well, that was quite a trip. Or no, sorry, to quote my favorite thing from Samwise, well, I'm back. That's the best way to end a book. Even though the extended version of Return of the King, the unwritten, the unpublished chapter, chapter, is really good too. Yeah, it's really good. It's a coin flip on which one I like best. But Bilbo to me was like that for me. I just enjoyed him. I enjoyed Lord of the Rings, and I could see myself living my life like Bilbo. Today I could live my life like Bilbo, but I wouldn't be jumping with 7 dwarves, or 12 dwarves, or 8 dwarves. I said 7 dwarves. I wouldn't go with 7 dwarves because I don't trust them. I don't trust that dopey character. But with the dwarf, I wouldn't have gone with the dwarves. I've been like, Gandalf, you can give me the evil eye all you want. You give me that little stare. You don't try to guilt shame me into going on this trip. I would never leave my Hobbit hole now, but back as a kid, that's what you dream of, right?
Yeah,
Adventure literally knocking on your door.
Exactly. Yeah, and a couple of things you said there, I really want to ask you about because I like this. You got when he come back, Bilbo comes back. Reading it and studying it, I definitely see Tolkien the veteran here a little bit, both in Bilbo's case and in Frodo and the rest of the hobbits when they come back after having taken the ring to Mount Doom. You've gone out and experienced this tragic, horrible, even though it was a noble cause. It's just you've really experienced a lot of stuff, and then you come back home and everything's peaceful and going around you as usual. It's hard to, I'm not a veteran or myself or anything, but he did it in such a way that I can see him putting his experience in there, but I can also see that's our daily lives too. I mean, our own little daily heroes journeys is going out of our comfort zone, trying something and then coming back and then seeing how we're going to integrate that experience. How are we going to figure that out? And what a great thing to show children who are constantly having to get out of their comfort zones to learn, stretch themselves, expand, at school or whatever, so I like that. Some great things. I can see that. And if you have anything specific, as a child or whatever that spoke to, feel free to say it. But I'd also like to know, was it just that you saw was it just that you came to know Bilbo first, or is there something about his personality that connected with you a little bit more than Frodo?
It's probably just because I was introduced to Bilbo first. And for me, I just stayed truthful to the original OG Hobbit. Now, like I said, growing up, I appreciate Frodo to the max. I love the characters there. But like I said, as a kid, I thought Bilbo was the better Hobbit, and he should have been the one to take the adventure forward. Because he was our friend at the beginning, and he's the one that found the ring. He should because Bilbo's whole speech at Elrod's council made sense to me, and I'm sure it made sense to a lot of fans too. Christopher Tolkien knew what he was doing when he wrote that. He said a lot of people are going to expect Bilbo to be the one to take this, but here's why. Here's why he won't be taking it. It's really smart now. I didn't realize how good. I always enjoy the books, but every time I read through them, I enjoy them that much more.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Did because Bilbo does, even though he doesn't carry the ring, in Lord of the Rings, I feel like he is sort of, even though he's not present in a lot of the story, his presence is there, specifically in the pity of Bilbo, how the pity of Bilbo will save them in the end, for Gollum. Yeah, did that ring with you as a child at all, or?
Yes, no, as a child, I totally, that went over my head. As a kid, growing up and now seeing it, because he pities Gollum. Gollum held the ring on for too long and it destroyed him. Bilbo just barely made it away in time. The ring was claiming power on him, and just like a suffering alcoholic or a drug addict, he got out before it was too late. For Gollum, there is no redemption. There is no hope. He's just kind of gone now. He's a pitiful wretch of a creature now. Frodo doesn't see that. Frodo sees a disgusting, at first, he grasps the pity of Gollum quicker than Sam does. But again, I want to say, I bet the average reader was picking Samwise's suggestion, going, yes, you need to kill that little snake.
Yeah, exactly.
He's no good.
That's the human reaction.
Pity was the right thing to have, and reading it back, you do feel pity for Gollum. It's a brilliant way to write things, but no, I was way too stupid as a kid to realize that.
Now, I know you said you didn't like the live action films, but did you ever enjoy the Rankin Bass animated Hobbit?
I did. I enjoyed them. I love them. I rewatched all of them, but Return of the King, I can't find that one on streaming. But we watched them as a kid, so it's mainly out of nostalgia. Okay. The reason, before the chat probably blows up in anger, how do you not like those movies? Visually, yeah, they're great. But compared to the novel, are you kidding me? I hate when a director thinks that he can do a better story than the actual author of the best-selling novel. I mean, change it. Oh, Matt, it stayed the same. And not in a lot of cases, not to me. Not to me. And if you're going to make a 3-hour film and you're not going to include Tom Bombadil, there's something wrong with you. I told you that a while back. But
that's right.
But the thing is, though, I mean, what do I think about Amazon's upcoming thing? They spent $100 million. Great. That's nice. It doesn't mean it's going to be great.
Mm-mm.
They let that leak on purpose, and they probably inflated that number as much as they could to get the hype up.
Yeah.
I don't put it past them. I'm not expecting much. I'll watch it. Yeah, I'll watch it. It's related to Tolkien. I'm not going to watch it with a negative point of view either. I'm interested. It's going to be the second age, right? They're going to be exploring.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
And I know the Silmarillion. I know Book of Lost Tales 1 and 2. I know what stories they could do, and I'd love to see those characters come to life. But will they, as written in the books? I highly doubt that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've given up all hope. I just, the closest thing that's ever been true to the book is probably the Harry Potter movies. And of course, they've had to skip some stuff and, change some storyline just for time's sake. Yeah. But if Harry Potter was a TV show, which it should have been a TV show. That way you could tell the whole story.
That's true. That'd be interesting. Yeah.
Out of several out. They should just redo it as a television series. I swear it'd be much better. But
give Amazon about 10 years, they'll get the rights and do it.
I mean, yeah, but if they could do Lord of the Rings as a television series, you wouldn't have to stretch it out to some unknown. You could just really take your time and really delve into it. I remember there's a buddy of mine who used to be my roommate. We would watch the Lord of the Rings movies together, and we'd laugh at all the inconsistencies from the book. Now, that's kind of snobbish, I know. We weren't ruining the movie for anyone. We were just physically entertained by the shoddy replacement story that they thought would be better because it needed more action or it needed an extra story in it. And we were just like, what? And when The Hobbit came out, I lost contact with him. I tried desperately to find him because I wanted to watch those movies with him so we could sit and laugh and enjoy them together. Instead, I sat in misery watching them by myself. I've only seen all of them once. I will not watch them again. I will read the books every other year, probably. It's such a beautiful story. It's so sad that the movie, in my opinion, didn't do it justice.
Yeah, no, understandable. So I do want to have you on the channel. Well, I haven't even talked to you about it yet, but I'll hit you up for when we do the prequels rewatches. But I'll leave you off the list when it comes to the Lord of the Rings rewatches.
Yeah, just leave me off those, please. A 4-hour stream.
What? So I recently took a class on Tolkien. My term paper for it was on both Tom Bombadil and Bjorn as guardians and how they kind of function there. So 2 questions for you. One, I want you to eventually tell me what is it about Tom Bombadil that struck you so much. But also, did you if you have any interest in Bjorn, did you like how they did Bjorn in the movie at least?
I mean, Bjorn, it's nice to see him. There's Bjorn. Yay! He doesn't get to do that much, but I mean. And it's fine. I don't want to, like I said, visually, it looked nice. There were some nice visuals there. I appreciate that. Some of the acting, I think I was fine with too. But like I said, story-wise, I just despise when a director thinks they can write better than the actual author.
Sure.
And they change things up. They say, well, Matt, they got to put some changes in there. No, people still don't read books.
I know.
They'd rather just watch the movie and not think about the book. So I don't care if it's just like the book, but that's just me. Yeah. With Bjorn, he's a great character too. Glad he got in there. Tom Bombadil, man, he's not meant for movies, obviously. I mean, his boots are yellow. He's a jolly fellow. He's laughing, but his symbolism, he's man of his own world. He rules. Tom Bombadil has no fear. The reason they don't give him the ring is because it doesn't have power over him. It never will. And it's not a danger to him. So he's going to leave it out in the woods one day and just forget about it because it's a dead trinket. It's like my little girl's giving me a piece of tree bark. Go, here, Daddy. Thank you. They think that tree bark is just precious.
Yeah.
Okay. They love that tree bark. They'll go to bed. They grab a rock from the daycare has a little rock garden out to the side. Every day they go out when they leave, grab one rock from the rock garden, take it with them, and I found rocks in their bed before because they'll try to sneak it into their crib. Okay. And then they give Daddy their precious rock, and Daddy chunks the rock. Okay. And that's what the ring is to Tom Bombadil. It's just a rock. It's not really anything. I mean, ooh, pretty, but it's not, it has no power over him and everything. And looking at it now, it's great, but sure, it probably wouldn't translate to a movie, because you need to have pacing and look at pacing. As pacing goes, everything that's kind of draw things out a little bit. take all the tenseness out. But at the same time, for a TV series, I think it'd be just perfect.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. And there's something magical about Tom Bombadil too that really appeals to kids and everything. Definitely. But you were talking about Bilbo and his cleverness and his that's part of his appeal. And that kind of bridges the next character, because I remember watching this character as a child too, and I was so excited. You're the first person that ever mentioned this as one of their heroes. I was like, oh, that's cool. I love that show. And I loved Richard Dean Anderson in Stargate SG-1 later. But MacGyver, man, that is iconic. That's almost entered our common language. No, you're going to MacGyver that or something. I mean, that's just a verb now almost.
I loved MacGyver as a kid. I have a blue jean jacket today.
Nice.
I will wear. I'm channeling my inner MacGyver right now with this blue. just need to dye it blonde, and I'm good to go.
There you go.
MacGyver took actual science and a lot of TV embellishment and came up with these awesome contraptions. They did work to a certain extent, not the way we saw in the TV series, much to my brother's dismay. We never missed an episode. I remember watching them all. Absolutely loved the whole series. Haven't rewatched it. It's probably not as good, but I would definitely give it a rewatch. I remember there was one episode. Of course, he's running from this army. And he's got to get away. He and this girl got to get away. So what he decides to do is get tree sap and pine cones. That's what he needs. So you're like, tree sap and pine? What are you doing? God, we're gonna throw pine cones out? It's like, no, he lights them, chucks them into the forest, and then they start giving off smoke. And then there's a smoke cloud, and they get away. They escape the army that way by smoke. We're like, that is so cool.
Yeah.
So me and my brothers decided to do this. Now, we were in Mobile, Alabama at the time, because we'd watched this episode at my grandmother's. We walk outside. We go into, there's a little patch of woods across the street from her. We go in there, get a pine cone, check. Okay, tree sap, check. Get about the pocket knife, start tearing into the tree, right? Start tearing into it, and that's all sticky. Okay, so now you rub as much as that as you can on the pine cone. By the way, it's all over your hands and all over your shirt, because you thought it would be a good idea to wipe it on your shirt. That did nothing but get your shirt sticky, and your hands feel like you've been doing handstands at a public movie theater.
Oh, no.
Okay? They're just all, they make that noise. So after literally 45 minutes to an hour of trying to get enough tree sap on the stupid pine cone, because, I mean, for MacGyver, it was easy. He just sliced in the tree and then rubbed it really softly, and it was just gooey. I mean, it's like a climber came in and just put ectoplasm all over that pine cone. Yep. So we put as much, and it's going. We light that sucker up. We throw it in the road, because we're going to make because we're mischievous children, and we're going to make a smoke bomb in this road, and cars going to be like, whoa, like, what's going on? And maybe even steer off the road. Maybe we'll cause some mayhem. Who knows? The smoke. Oh, it smokes, folks. It smokes. It's a little wisp of smoke. It's constant, but that's it.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at my brother going, MacGyver lied to us. It was almost, I'm not going to say that, quote the line, but it's almost that Dumb and Dumber line. I thought the Rocky Mountains were a little rockier than this.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just like, what? And so we went back and told Mom. Of course, we had to get the pine tar off our hands. And she goes, well, I mean, it works to an extent, but the TV show kind of embellishes a little bit for TV. And I was like, yeah, well, Mom, that was a lot, because it didn't smoke like MacGyver's bomb smoked. Yeah. There's a few things that he could do that was true, little mechanisms, and use science. And we just always loved that as kids. And I remember just thinking, he has got to be one of the coolest guys in the world, because he's so smart. He, give 3 people guns and give MacGyver, a stopwatch, a paperclip, a rubber band, and a pack of bubble gum, and you're dead. You may as well just throw down your Tommy gun now.
Exactly.
Because he's going to get you. But I just loved how he did. Oh, he had to stop a bomb one time. He was trying to he had 2 tickets to the King.
He had his grandfather with him, right? It was his grandfather.
With him.
Yeah.
And so Yeah, they're in the building, and now there's a bomb, and he can't find and he can't cut the wire. He cuts the wire, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no! And when these two things snap together, it blows up.
Mhm.
But he grabs his hockey ticket, puts it in between the prongs, and when the prongs hit, they don't ignite because the hockey ticket's behind it. So he stops the bomb without having to cut a wire.
Yeah.
Different
his grandfather
storyline.
takes the other ticket off to the game.
but then he and his grandpa look at it and say, so it's done? Yeah. He went, well, there's still time to catch the hockey game. See ya. And he goes off, and MacGyver's like, wait. And he tries to grab the ticket and realizes there's a bomb. He's like, no. And that's how it ends. It's hilarious.
Yep. No, it's great stuff.
Great. I absolutely love it. In fact, see, I'm on my cell phone, so we can go mobile now.
Absolutely. Take us along.
So let's take you to the Hall of Fame. And here.
Oh, yes. Sweet.
It's To Matt by Richard Dean Anderson.
Awesome. Oh, man, that's great.
Now, I got that. I met him at, I think it was DragonCon. It was his first public appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was having him sign Stargate SG-1 stuff. And he only had one picture of him as MacGyver. I said, that's him. That's I love SG-1. I love Richard Dean Anderson. And in that, he was fantastic. But to me, he's always MacGyver first. So we got the MacGyver thing signed. If I didn't show you on the bottom of it, I'll go back and show you that. There's something written at the bottom there.
Oh, nice.
He had a line. I'm not kidding you. It filled the entire lobby. It was, front to back, zigzag line. And they said, hey guys, there's a lot of people in this line. I'm sorry, but there's the handler was going, you need to go up, get it signed, take your picture and go.
Yeah, they do that.
We gotta get people through here. And Richard Dean Anderson got up and said, hey everyone, I'm going to get to you all. Don't worry. I promise everyone will get to me. He said, I'm not taking a lunch. I will not be taking breaks. He said, because it was all the money was going to his charity.
Oh, nice.
And so
that's cool.
I remember it was $75. I thought, oh, that's a lot. Back then it was. Now it seems like everyone charges that. But back then it was a lot. And I was like, he said, I know it's a lot. He said, but guys, this is going to my charity. He said, my agent told me I should show up to do this for charity because he was trying to come up with ways to, do a fundraiser. And he said, go to a con. People would love to see you.
Yeah.
So he was shocked by the outpouring of support. But he said, I'm not taking a lunch. I'm not taking a break. I'll be here all night if I have to. But thank you so much for coming.
Nice.
But they were saying, hey, to respect Richard Dean Anderson, let's get to the line as fast as possible.
Sure.
And I wanted to, but it's Richard Dean Anderson. I couldn't do it. So what I did, I was sneaky. I know for a fact he's a big hockey fan. He is a Kings fan. The Kings had won that year. I believe it was 2012. I could be wrong. But anyway, so I said, watch this. And my wife said, don't. She said, you can talk to him when you're signing and getting the picture. But after that, you got to go. I said, I'm just going to ask a question. So I appreciate him as MacGyver. We watched this kid, told him everything. He's like, oh, thanks, man. He's like, yeah. I said, hey, and do you really think your Kings are going to repeat the Stanley Cup? Because I don't know, man. They don't seem. Now, it doesn't matter who you are. If you love sports, everyone is the same. Everyone wants to give ESPN commentary on their favorite team. And true enough, after we took the picture, he goes, no, I'll tell you about the Kings. I said, please do. And so I start mentioning the team members. He went, oh, you're a Kings fan. I went, no, I'm a Red Wings fan. He went, Red Wings. And so he goes, give me, and he jerks the photo from me. He's like, give me that. And he writes, go Kings. On the bottom there. Because when he found that out. And so I started laughing. Well, the handler is the whole time handler's going, thank you, sir. I said, excuse me, you're interrupting RDA. My good friend RDA now. And so he started talking about this. I said, you know what? I pegged you for a Wild fan because I know Richard. I said, you're originally from Minnesota. I said, you don't cheer for your Wild? He went, oh, he said, I love the Wild. He said, but you got to understand, they weren't an NHL team back then. I was like, really? I knew this. I just want to keep talking.
Nice.
And so he goes, yeah. He said, but no, I love him. He said, I cheer for him. He said, but He said, when I moved out to LA, I started going to Kings games, I know all this, but I'm here saying, oh yeah. I said, you saw the great one, Gretzky. He went, yeah, how can you not like Gretzky? I said, I don't know. I said, plus you had, and I start naming other things. He said, yeah, he said, but you know my favorite unsung hero? I was like, who? I mean, it was great. It was great. The handler was ticked off, but he couldn't say anything because I wasn't the one dragging the conversation on.
Yep. Nice.
It was Richard Dean Anderson. And it was lot. I mean, I had, and I mean, I basically got pushed off by the handler. I was physically assaulted. I'm kidding. I was pushed off so that they could get the next person. My wife thought I was going to get tasered probably, but because he was such a big hero of mine growing up, this was my one time to meet him, and I made the most of it, and I absolutely loved it. He's great. He was great, but as kids, you wanted to be MacGyver. You wanted to outsmart your opponent. It wasn't about outpowering them. It wasn't about cool karate kicks, even though karate kicks were cool. Yeah. But MacGyver was different in that, he thought like this. Like there's another hero I mentioned earlier to you when we were talking about heroes, Batman using his detective skills. Yeah. But MacGyver is just, to me, he was just so, I remember just being so influenced to him as a kid. Because like I said, we would try to emulate a lot of the things. We tried to do a lot of the things he would try. And our mom loved it because it kind of taught us a little bit of crazy science. Like, yes, there is some electricity inside of a citrus. How? I don't know. Well, is it what? So it was really neat to get to see that, and you learn something too.
Absolutely, yeah. And like you said, I mean, he did teach. He was a unique hero, showing the kids that you can be a hero with your brains too, not just with the brawn, not just with $6 Million Man kind of technology and whatnot. And to prove he wasn't anti-gun, he went on SG-1 and started blowing people away. Exactly, that's right. Or zatting them and stunning them either way. I did get a super chat just a while. I just don't want to forget it. Back to Lord of the Rings. Owen Lister, thank you very much for that, Owen Lister. He says if you're going to do Lord of the Rings show, make it animated, preferably 2D, because you can do so much that live action can't. Certainly budget-wise. Yeah, definitely. But so we linked Bilbo with MacGyver, but just I wanted to at least get to all the ones on the thumbnail, and then you mentioned more, and we can have you back definitely. But it strikes me that you have Atreyu from Neverending Story, which is an awesome pick too. But he strikes me as a little bit more Luke oriented in never losing faith. Right? There's impossible odds before him, an impossible quest. How is he ever going to do this? But he doesn't lose faith, and he goes for it anyway. I imagine that's probably what drew you to him a little bit, or is it a different draw? Absolutely, and I would tie in Sebastian too with that. Oh, sure. Who is basically living his life through Atreyu. Yeah. But the thing is, it was, again, here's a kid you can easily relate to as another kid. The Sphinx scene scared the bejesus out of me. That did me too. I mean, their eyes are slightly opening. You're like, oh man, yeah. I know. I just kind of clenched up here and you talk about it there. You talk about pee your pants. I don't think I've ever been more nervous. Yep. You are there twisting whatever you can, going, go, 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 go. And true of heart, that he's watching through the binoculars at him running. Literally the world is crumbling around him. Like no pressure, right? No pressure. But yet he is true. He is going to, because he told the princess he's going to do this. He's going on the quest. And then, of course, you've got the saddest scene in cinematic history. The two saddest scenes in cinematic history are the first 10 minutes of Up, or 5 minutes of Up, by Pixar, and then the Artax scene. No. And the swamp of sadness. It's so, because he and his, and this is when Atreyu is at an all-time low, right? Yeah. Because he travels so far and really gets nowhere. He gets no answers. He's frustrated. He's tired. He's in a swamp. Then Artax does not want to move. Yeah, he lets the sadness get into him. He's slowly sinking, and the acting. Oh yeah, that kid was amazing. He was amazing. He is screaming, pleading, crying, pulling on the reins, doing everything he can
screaming, and Artax is, and it keeps showing Artax getting buried up to his neck. And you're like, oh, I actually know someone, a grown adult, can't watch that scene.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I could watch it today.
It.
Yeah, I couldn't watch it today either. I would have to fast forward.
It's too rough. My brother just recently rewatched it with his kids.
Mm-hmm.
He texted me. He went, Artax. He said, not kidding. He said, not kidding. He said, tears started watering. I said, I know, it's a sad scene.
I know. But you do see him in the end when Sebastian rebuilds. You get to see him.
They make sure he's okay. He's riding Artax at the end because he saved the world.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, at that point, he wants to give up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, there is no hope. But then he perseveres on. He gets to the end of the world, practically the edge of the world, and nothing is tearing things down around him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he meets another it's a terrifying movie. It's a terrifying movie.
Yeah.
The Nothing. Well, the servant of the Nothing, excuse me.
The wolf.
Who is this big animatronic, I think, wolf. Who
terrifying, though. Really good puppetry.
Great puppetry. You'll never be scared of a puppet more in your entire life. I swear, if I had seen that, he's in a cave.
Mm-hmm.
He's got these glowing eyes, these white teeth, and I'm about to kill you, Atreyu. You know, he's calling his shots, man. This is the moment you die. You have lost. I mean, just saying everything to him. Okay, if I was Atreyu, I would have slipped on my own pee trying to run to get away. Okay, I'd have been so scared. Look at that.
Yep,
that is
terrifying.
Come on, Michael, I'm going to bed after this. You don't do this to a guy. He's a scary dude.
He is.
I'm sorry, people who are watching this. I'm sorry for the lack of sleep you're going to get. It's scary.
Yeah, and they had that meeting too, where they both said they both failed in their quest until they realized the two of them were linked in it, and then oh man, that was great writing.
Oh man, it was great. It was great. And then he thinks he's apologizing to the princess. No, you brought him here, the boy, to the story.
Mm-hmm.
And Sebastian, I can also relate to. I love reading books as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing about him stealing, the book from the bookstore, the secret book he's reading, he's living life. He saves some of his lunch because, Atreyu has to ration out his thing for the long trip.
He's locked in overnight at school.
Sense to me. And because I lived through the adventure of the books I read, I lived through those characters.
Yeah.
I connected just as much with Sebastian, if not maybe a little bit. Maybe I should put him in there too. But Sebastian was just as important, even though he's not that. In the story, you don't see him as much.
Yeah.
There, but he's so relevant to the story because at the same time, you're him. You're that kid.
Yeah.
And to go back to the Wall of Fame.
Yes.
Because we get our heroes to sign our autographs with.
Oh, nice! That is awesome.
There again, met the awesome dude. He is extremely nice. He's an extremely nice fellow, and he had told us that the horse was offered to him after filming.
Oh, really? Wow!
But there was a virus going around at the time in England, and even though the horse didn't have it, they didn't want the FDA couldn't transfer it back to the US.
Okay, yeah,
because of the some kind of virus. The horse. Don't worry, folks, you don't have low blood sugar. My wife forgot that I was in the room with her and just turned off the lights.
Hi, Mrs. Wilkins.
They said hello. Okay. Mrs. was in here for a minute, and then she decided to give us a blackout there.
Nice.
The Nothing got me, folks.
The Nothing, that's right. It took
back.
over.
Who knew?
Gamort took you over. Yeah.
I'm telling you. But it was, but he couldn't take it because of the virus and everything. But he said he really wanted that horse. He said he got along with that horse well. Because, of course, everyone wants to. I hated, because I know that's a question he hears only a billion times.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But for such a classic tale like that, for me, it was just, like I said, that book stuck. That whole movie stuck with me.
Oh yeah.
Character a trait stuck with me. I finally, as a grown man now, we can get our little trinkets and toys. And so I do have a Never-Ending Story necklace with
nice.
the pendant and everything.
Cool.
Yeah, I should have worn that tonight, but
Awesome.
I rarely wear it, but I just love it. I
Yeah.
don't think I'd be that cool wearing it to work or anything. But at the same time, if someone noticed what it was, I'd be super cool to them.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
And if they laugh at me, that's okay, because I'll get Falcor and I'll run you into a garbage dump.
That's right. Yeah, just like the bullies at the end.
I'll do that in a heartbeat. But yeah, so no, to me that character and Sebastian, of course, really click with me. Again, it's easy to make this connection as a kid because you can see yourself you're like, I'm the one trying to do this.
Yeah.
And he's so heroic. And I guess there is a little bit of a theme here, all this optimism.
Sure. Yeah.
In my characters here, but yeah, extreme optimism. MacGyver never thinks he's outmanned, outgunned. He can outsmart them. He thinks
I find that when I have guests on here that and I want to start having guests back too. So I'm definitely gonna get you back because you have a lot of other ones as well. But if people are more drawn to aspirational, they'll tend to list those first, or if they're more drawn to cathartic motivational, they'll list those first. And yeah, it's a trend. But I know we're just about at an hour here, or a little over actually.
Yeah.
So you did list a lot of other heroes. Definitely want to have you back to talk about them in depth. Did you want to mention any of them in passing as we fade out, or do you want to just
I mean, I'll just name one real quick. Batman, of course. Batman was a huge one for me for the same reason. He was not super in that he had no superpowers.
Yeah.
And so it's like you had the capability of being Batman without having to fly or run really fast or talk to fish. Which is what everyone wanted to be when they were at the beach with Aquaman. You didn't want to play Aquaman when you're anywhere else. But for Batman, Batman was everywhere, and I just really liked him a lot. But I'm glad for the ones I picked, though. I like my picks.
Yeah, definitely great picks and a great show too. I definitely want to have you back for a number. Yeah, definitely have you back for another one of these streams. Also, though, I noticed that heard the other day you talking about you had rewatched Babylon 5. I'd actually been rewatching that myself, and specifically, I just need to watch one of the movies or something at the end. Then I'll have completed the entire series again. But I've been picking out specifically the Tolkien references that are just left and right throughout the whole series. It's really kind of cool.
Yes.
So once I'm finished, I guess you're finished now. But once I finish, we should coordinate on a night and we can get together, kind of decompress it or unpack it ourselves at some point.
Absolutely. Are you watching all the movies?
Yeah.
Absolutely. The last one I really want to talk to you about.
Definitely. Cool. Yeah, so we'll do that. But I really appreciate you being on here tonight. I won't keep you too much any longer there, but is there any last words or any last thing you wanted to say or mention? Toss out I will put the link to Matt's channel in the chat here in just a second. But also I'll update the channel URL and the Expanded Universe website URL in the video that I put out when I cut this out as a stream and just re-release it as a video. So we'll have that. But any last words or anything?
No, thanks for having me, and really appreciate being on here. And this is a lot of fun. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much. So I've got the link there to Matt's channel. I'll put that at least in the chat there. Definitely go subscribe to him if you haven't. He's got great content, great stuff, and you'll see him around here again. Absolutely. So thanks, Matt, and everyone. Until next time, keep enjoying and digging deeper into the hero stories you love.